Hi, I'm Tom, BDM Arrow. I'm here with Joe Baguley. Joe, so my brother runs a podcast. He works in the advertising marketing industry. It's called Marketing Room 101. And each episode, we've got a format feature called Brother's Question, where I get to ask a question. I'm not in the industry, I don't know anything. I just do a little bit of research. And we've had some really good responses. So now the shoe's on the other foot. I asked my brother to ask a question to you. So he did a wee bit of digging. And his question is, I understand when you're not being a CTO, you're often behind the wheel of a race car. Have you learned anything in racing, through racing, that you apply to being a CTO or vice versa? Also, if VCF was a car, what would it be?
Wow, that's a question. Cool. What comes across from one to the other is a really interesting one. I think
it could be nothing, but I bet there is learnings.
So I race as part of a team.
Yep.
And so I think that's really important. So a lot of people think racing's just you on your own. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, if you're just racing your own car, but I've always raced as part of an endurance team. So it's always me with other people. Okay. So I think, you could have all the parallels you can expect with that around teamwork. But I think it's much more about, there's a really interesting thing is when you're in racing, people ask the question, I always say when you go to people, how do you win a race?
Finish first.
Cross the line first, correct. That's exactly it, right? You win a race by crossing the line. People come with loads of different answers. And I think it's when I've worked my whole life in software development. It's right, how you win the race is by actually shipping the product.
Yeah, true.
So I think it's people aligned around a common goal is probably the only parallel I could probably bring in that.
So much that goes behind before you get to the finish line, right? The telemetry, the right tires, the brains that are working to get you across that line, I suppose.
I think, yeah, there's an adrenaline side to it as well, I think, obviously, right? I'm an adrenaline, I didn't realize this, but I'm an adrenaline junkie. And someone pointed it out to me with downhill mountain biking and car racing and rock climbing and skiing.
I saw the Arc'teryx jacket and I thought you must be an outdoor kind of guy.
Yeah, so, all that kind of stuff all sort of comes together in that. And I think, one of the reasons I've always worked in IT is because it's the constant change and the constant challenges. I think that's really the thing. So if you want to start to draw a parallel there, no 2 days are the same in my job, right? I don't sit behind a desk and, I did when I started on a help desk doing support, but, my job's evolved now that no 2 days are the same. And I think when it comes to racing, nothing's ever the same. Whether it's weather conditions, whether it's stuff going on with the car, whatever, it's all interesting and fun. So yeah, I think, what was the other part of the question?
If VCF was a car, what would it be?
Oh, now this is an interesting one, right?
Got the heritage there, so
what
do you think?
I think to pick a car, I think it would have to be something that is incredibly well integrated and developed by a team that's focused on performance. So honestly, in my mind, I think it would be Lotus.
Lotus?
It would be a Lotus. Yeah. So Colin Chapman was really famous for his statement that he adds lightness, right? So what they do, they add lightness. What do they do? They go, I added lightness, right? And I think when we look at what we're doing in VCF, we see a lot of customers have tried to build their own car, right? Mm-hmm. Their own private cloud, where they've got, the wheels from one person and they've got the engine from someone else and the gearboxes from someone else, and they say, oh, look, I've got the best car in the world. And it's like, yeah, you might have the best components, but together it's awful. Whereas if you go and look at someone like maybe Lotus with something like an Exige or something like that, it's the absolute pinnacle of a car that's brought together for one sole purpose of being light, fast, efficient. And that's, in my mind, that's how I kind of see our journey now around VCF, is we brought it to be easy to operate. You can turn up and it just runs, and that's it. I don't want to draw parallels with Lots of Trouble, usually serious either, because that's a whole separate thing.
I mean, I had a McLaren Senna. I just thought, you've got the heritage, it's the best of breed. It's not for everybody, but the people who it is for, it kind of works absolutely spot on. But that's similar, like their development in-house, and the MTC is amazing. I'm sure you've probably been down there.
I've been to the MTC a couple of times, yeah. But no, I'm get you with that. I think McLaren, there's a certain, when you're in a McLaren driving around a track, which I have done a few times, you feel like that's where it was meant to be.
Nice.
It's kind of interesting, really. But that's the same I felt with a Lotus. There's certain cars that, and I feel like, you want to draw parallels with VCF, when you're doing that in a private cloud, you feel like that's what it was meant to do. That's what we're building it for, and it pains me sometimes. That's a great parallel. It's really good. We talk about this for hours, but it pains me sometimes because you see people take a beautiful thing that we've made, which is VCF, and then swap out a component for something else, or change a bit, or do whatever, and then use it badly, and then come back and go, oh, it's really not doing what we wanted it to. It's like, well, you're not using it in any way that we've designed it to.
Okay.
And you're not using it to, to the full. You're not getting the best performance out of it because you're not understanding how it's meant to be used. And it's the same when you come to any particular race car, whether it's McLaren, Lotus, or whatever. Is you get that on track. If you drive it well in a place that it's meant to be at speed, it just comes alive. It's like the whole car is saying to you, "This is what I was designed to do," right?
Yeah.
And it's really exciting to see that. But if you go there and you've changed the tyres for some awful tyres, and you remap the engine to be slightly different because that's what you like doing, and it starts to drive a bit weird, you can't then go back complaining to McLaren.
No. But if you speak to McLaren in the first place, they might tell you to tweak this here, tweak that there, and let's get it back to where it needs to be for the conditions you need it to be in. Amazing. So VCF is a Lotus.